Imagine doing what you've always wanted but was too scared to try. What would that be? Have you always wanted to discover the world through travels, but the thought of the inconveniences of travel stopped you from doing it? Have you always been fascinated over the thought of jumping off a cliff or an airplane, but you've been afraid of heights since you were young? Have you always wanted to say hi to that stranger in the cafe when you grab your morning coffee, but doing that made you think that the person might think you're a weirdo? What is it that you always long for, but you weren't brave enough to do? Now look back at your life when you were courageous, when you were brave. What world has it opened for you when you did that? When was that moment? In our lives, we always face this call to be brave, to take that leap of courage. And when we did answer that call, there were times when a new world has opened to us, when our eyes were open to something new. And of course, there were times when we fell flat on our face doing something that we longed for. And there were also times when, after dusting ourselves off from doing that proverbial leap, we realized that, that was really nothing. It wasn't what I thought it would have been. It wasn't as mind-blowing as I thought it would be. And the thing is, whether it was mind-blowing or not, every time that we heeded that call to be brave, that's one less moment for us when we are on our deathbed wondering what would have been if we did it. Now, if you were to be brave, who would you want to be beside you? Would you want to be with your biggest fan, that supporter, that parent, that grandparent, or child, or spouse, or cat, or dog, who always cheers you on, who believes in you when you don't believe in yourself? Or would you want to be with the biggest critic that you have in your life? That parent, or grandparent, or child, or spouse, or cat, or dog, who, upon hearing that you want to do something, will look at you judgmentally and say, "Who do you think you are?" Now, I bet that you'd rather have a supporter by your side, that fan. Because thinking back through the times when you have been brave, you must have not done it if there was not somebody beside you who's cheering you on. That person gave you the kindness that you needed to hear. That person told you that you can do it when you thought that you couldn't do it, or that you didn't even deserve to do it. The truth is, whenever we need to do something that is outside of our comfort zone, our biggest critic is not somebody else. I think you would have realized by now that the voice of criticism is not outside. That voice is actually living in our head. If we pay attention to our thoughts, there's always that little voice, or sometimes it's actually a very loud voice that says, "You're not worth it. Whatever you want to do or long for, it's not worth it. Don't do it." So when you stop yourself from booking that ticket to Rome, or when you stepped away from that ledge right before you wanted to jump on that cliff, or when you stop yourself from saying hi to that stranger in the cafe, you actually listen to that voice of criticism. You listen to that voice of judgment. And maybe during the time that you were looking into that, I wished my supporter, my biggest fan, is right next to me, so that I can be encouraged to do what I've always wanted to do. The thing is, most of the time when we have to face that courageous event, we are alone. That voice of encouragement from our supporter is not there. And so we ask ourselves, if that critical voice or that judgmental voice is with us in our head, is it possible to develop that kind voice of a supporter in our head as well? And the answer to that question is yes. Through practice, we can develop kindness towards ourselves. So let's talk about kindness. We all know that it's easy to be kind, to do acts of kindness towards the people that we care for. But most of the time, it's not easy to turn that kindness towards ourselves. And you know what? If we ever have to develop that kindness towards ourselves, the only way that we can do it is to practice kindness universally. We need to be able to practice kindness towards a lot more people than we thought we could be kind towards. We can't just be kind to the people that we care for. For us to be kind to ourselves, we also need to be kind to the people around us that we're not even paying attention to. Hello everyone, I'm Lord Fernandez and I'm a mindfulness teacher. Welcome to my channel. My goal is to provide mindful practices to people that can help them in their daily lives, to help them get the ability to appreciate and be present in the good moments, and the ability to be calm and conscious through the challenging moments. Welcome to a video where we are going to talk about the practice of developing kindness. Let's begin. First, take mindful breaths, or prepare a drink that you enjoy: coffee, tea, water, juice, iced tea. And then pick a quiet spot. Then take out a sheet of paper and a pen. And on the paper, write the numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4 on separate lines on the page. Next to the number 1, write down the name of a loved one. This person is someone that you talk to every day, and every interaction gives you joy and fills you with love. This person or creature also returns the love to you. This person can be a human, a creature, or even a plant. Next to the number 2, you can write the name of someone that you see every day, a mere acquaintance. You might not even know his or her name, so just give him or her a name right now. This can be the mailman, this can be the street sweeper, or the storekeeper where you get your daily treats from. Think of someone that you don't have any emotional attachment towards. This person is your everyday acquaintance. Next to the number 3, write down the name of a person that you wish you liked better. You don't necessarily hate them. You just don't like them as much as the other people around you. This person is your challenger. For some people, this is your least favorite parent or child or sibling. No guilt here. Don't think of someone that you hate. We're not going to start with your biggest dragon in this practice. Just think of someone with whom you can have a better relationship with. And lastly, next to the number 4, write down your name. Keep the sheet for now. We will revisit these names the next day. This practice is inspired by the loving kindness meditation. However, I'm not going to walk you through a meditation practice today. What I'm going to ask you is, the day after you wrote the people's name on that sheet, follow these instructions. Begin your day with the intention of reaching out to your loved one. This could be face-to-face, through a phone call, an email, or a text message. If you wish to be grand, think of an act of kindness that will make this person happy. And in turn, this act of kindness makes you happy. Next, for your everyday acquaintance, if you haven't said hi to them in the past, for this day, you might want to do that. Or if you can't, just give them a smile. The act of kindness towards your everyday acquaintance is just to acknowledge their presence, that they are not invisible. You might even ask them how they're doing on that day. Now, as we move on to the third person in your list, your challenger, take mindful breaths first. This will allow you to ground yourself at this present moment. Thinking of something to do as kindness for this person might not be easy. And if that's the case, repeat these words onto yourself. This person, this challenger, has hopes and dreams just like me. This person is a human being just like me. And right now, as I think of them, I wish them to be well. I wish them to be happy. And after doing that, take another set of mindful breaths. Lastly, we move on to ourselves. Observe what is present within you today. Do you find any challenges in this moment? And if it is one of those days when it's challenging, are you able to extend the same kindness that you have extended to your challenger earlier on? Are you able to tell yourself that you wish yourself to be joyful and well today? Similar to how you acknowledge the kindness towards your challenger. Or maybe it's that day when you just feel invisible, similar to how in the past you've seen your everyday acquaintance as someone who's invisible. And maybe the kindest thing that we can do to ourselves today is to acknowledge our presence, to acknowledge the fact that we are here. Or maybe it's that kind of day when everything is just rosy and lovely. And if it's that, then the kindest thing to do is to say thanks, because today kindness comes easy. Kindness is an act that needs to be made unconditionally. The only way to strengthen it is to consciously bring it up and do it, regardless of how we feel towards another person or ourselves. When this day ends, think of the 4 people in your paper, and for each one of them, wish them to be well, wish them to be happy. When we do this practice, our capacity to be kind grows every day. Start with the 4 names in our list, and over time, maybe you can substitute or add on a challenger into your list. What is important to recognize in this practice is the fact that the 3 personas of the loved one, the everyday acquaintance, and the challenger actually exists within ourselves as well. So when we practice kindness towards those 3 personas externally, we are also developing the ability to provide kindness to those personas in ourselves. Remember, when you face the moment when you need to be outside of your comfort zone, or simply put, when you need to be brave, your strongest ally can be yourself. So through this practice, develop the ability to talk kindly to yourself so that when you need it most, you are able to do it. Thank you for joining me in this mindful moment. Join me in the next video when we explore another mindfulness practice. May you be well, may you be happy.